Hello and welcome to Bear Necessities. This is Bear, and we're going to be continuing on our Priest series with the Druid classes. If you haven't watched the Priest Basics videos, you should go back and watch it. I'll link in the description. But we're going to be diving into each one of the Druid classes by starting with talking a little bit about their similarities. So, all of the Druids wear leather armor, so your mit's going to be a little bit less than chain or plate, which is what the other two healing archetypes wear. But we are a leather wearer, so that's one thing that both Druids share. The healing style for Druids is regens, so let's go ahead and pull one of these real quick so you can see. So each healing archetype has a healing style. This case, we use regen heal, so you'll see that it healed me a little bit, and then I'm being healed over time, so it puts a buff on me. I'll show you again. So press this, puts a buff on me here. That heals me, and then it heals me every 1.5 seconds. So also click to cures there. Let me go ahead and kill this guy real quick. Alright, and so when it comes to Druids, you're going to get single target heal over times, and then you're going to get group heal over times. And that's on top of your flat heals that you currently have. You'll also get these heal over times here. Next, all Druids get a self buff. So Furies get Peerless Predator, but you can see it gives you some stats like stamina, mitigation. It also shape changes you into a lion. Oh, that's the wrong buff. But so both Warden and Fury get a self buff. There's some slight differences. Spirit of the Bat is a buff that both get. Increases your agi, base avoidance, combat power regen, and max power. And this is you can put this on yourself or anyone else in the group. Now you have to be careful because Spirit of the Bat doesn't take up a concentration slot. You do have a lot of different spells, so you got to make sure you keep enough concentration slots to hand those out to everyone. Another spell that you get is Thorns. So as you can see, it says when damaged with a melee weapon. Let's pull this up. When damaged with a melee weapon, it inflicts Thorn Storm. So it essentially does damage back. Here, let's attack one of these guys, so you'll be able to see. So you can see it's hitting for like 19 damage every time he hits me. So that's something that both Druids get. And then finally, Spirit of Wolf. So I will be mentioning this with other priests as well, because Shamans get this. But you can see, well, just by casting that, my character is moving a little bit faster. So this is really nice for dungeons and things like that, because I mean, of course you can use your mounts outside, and your mounts are going to be faster than, see how much faster I'm running. Your mounts are going to be faster than Spirit of Wolf, but once you get into certain dungeons, you can't, your mount buff just doesn't work. So having that extra run speed is actually pretty nice. And then one thing I can't really show because it's this server, you can't really show it. For some reason you don't have the teleport spells, and I went and tried to buy them, and I couldn't get them on this type of server, and I'm guessing that's because you can actually fast travel on the server and go anywhere. But you get port spells, so you're gonna get these rings. You'll cast it, and a little circle will pop up here. People will be able to click it. Anyone who's in the vicinity will be able to click it, and it'll pull up a big map kind of like this. It's not going to have this many locations, but it'll have areas for you to click, and you'll be able to teleport around the world. This is actually pretty useful early on in like Classic and DOF. Well, DOF it doesn't matter because it's all in the same area, but in Classic for sure, because there are certain dungeons that are on the good side, the evil side, and early on you're going to be running a lot to get to those places, so it's nice to have ports. So that's pretty much it for everything Druid specific related. So let's go ahead and dive into the Fury. So we're on Fury right now, and we're going to go about this just like I mentioned in the Priest Basics video. We're going to talk about group buffs and some of the namesake skills, and just talk a little bit about the general strengths of Fury, or just whatever class we're doing. So the Fury has some pretty basics, and all of the healers kind of have these similar group buffs, where you get one that gives max health and mit to non-fighters, and one that gives stamina and some sort of mitigation versus, or some sort of resists, pretty much. So Furies get elemental resist. Some of the other healers get different types of resist, but so you get max health, mit, stamina, and resist, and that's two of the group buffs that, like I said, most of the healers get some variation of this. They get a int and wisdom buff that also gives all resists versus elemental, noxious, and arcane, so not physical but magic type resists, which is really nice. And the int and wisdom, one thing that you're going to notice is int is included in a lot of their buffs. Furies are very much mage buffers. Wisdom is the primary stat for healers, int is the primary stat for mages. Next spell, we've got Primal Fury, which, as you can see, increases strength, agi, wiz, and int by 38, which is primary stat for tanks, scouts, healers, and mages. So this is a good buff for anyone. You can buff yourself. You can buff one of the higher DPS mages in your group. If you're in a group of scouts, you can buff a scout. This is still a really good buff. It gives you some extra resists, and it also has a proc, and this is one of the really good parts of it. You can of course ignore the potency part, but it increases casting speed, haste, and multi-attack, which is pretty freaking good. And then other group buffs, we get Lucidity, which is just a mage buff through and through. It gives you stamina and intelligence. So you're going to put this on your highest damage mages in your group. And if you don't have any mages, it's still stamina buff, so still not terrible. And yeah, so that's pretty much the group buffs. Let's go to some of the namesake skills. So some of the big skills are, we'll start with Porcupine. So Porcupine is a raid buff, actually. This is really nice. Of course, you can ignore the green text, but increases the mitigation of all raid and group members versus all damage for 984. I believe that there's an AA that's changing it for all damage. I think in Classic this is going to be just for physical damage, but it's still very, very good. And the reason being is a lot of AoEs in this in raids and in this game in general are trauma based AoEs, so they're big like slashes. I mean, I'll say it's a mix. You know, there are elemental AoEs as well, but like it's hard for mages and people who are like really squishy, wear cloth and leather and stuff like that, to survive some of these really big AoEs, or these big trauma AoEs, just because they just don't have the physical met to survive them. So Using Porcupine for those AoEs is super nice. It also has a damage proc on this that can trigger up to 50 times. You'll notice that whenever you cast it, it stays kind of darkened out here. It's because it's actually a toggle ability. You'll notice that my power is slowly being drained. It has a recurring power cost to keep this up, so it's pretty common in raids to use this for a big trauma AoE, toggle it off, and then you know, so it'll be up for the next one. All right, another namesake skill is Fey Fires, and this is a really good skill for any group, but it's essentially a group proc, so it makes it for 3 attacks. This says 5 attacks because it has AAs in it, I'm sure, but for 3 attacks for everyone in the group. I'll show you here. So I'm gonna hit that. You'll see that it does extra damage, 545 heat damage. You'll see that 545 every single time I use an ability, and that lasts for 3 triggers. And yeah, so it's really good. It goes on everyone in your group, and it's up every minute and 30, which is not bad. So this is something that you know, it just adds DPS to everyone in your group. And finally, there's 2 more skills here. They're kind of like more of I'd say like utility spells. So we get Pact of the Cheetah, which gives you in combat speed. So normally when you're in combat, you don't get a whole lot of run speed. Like all your out of combat run speed goes away. You can see I'm kind of slow here, but we get Pact of the Cheetah, we become super fast. So you can see that we have 58% in combat run speed, so we're able to pretty much like outrun this guy. Oh well, I guess not that fast, but it's really nice for certain encounters in the game. Helps you get into positions that you need to get to. Maybe you need to run and get an ad. In general, Pact of the Cheetah is just a nice spell. So alright, and then there's one other utility spell. It's an out of combat thing, but it's pretty interesting, and they're the only druid who gets invisibility, so they get group invis. So not only are you invising yourself, and you'll notice, like, see all these things that were aggroing me before, I can run around them without getting aggroed, which is really nice. And it's for the entire group. So if you have group mates that don't have invis, you can use this group invis. Maybe you need to get to like a camp or get to a named mob or something. You can get there a lot quicker. Alright, so that's it for the namesake skills. Let's talk just a little bit about the general strengths. You know, you get your heal over times, which is nice. As I kind of mentioned, talking about the buffs, Furies are mage healers. They get 4 DPS spells at level 50. They get a dot, or they get 2 dots here, and they get 2 big direct damage spells. So it's pretty common early on here that like none of the healers get a ton of DPS spells. Furies actually get 4. Some of the other ones get 5, but they're pretty low cooldown, so you can kind of spam those in there. Your big strengths, of course, are your Fey Fires for your group, your Lucidity for your other mages, and you got your heal over times to heal the group. So you're pairing really well with mage groups as a Fury. All right, and that's it for Furies. Let's move on to Wardens. Alright, now we have the Warden. So we're back on Firat Beach here. Kind of show you what some of the Warden abilities and namesake skills are, let's start with the group buffs. So similarly to the Fury, we have max health, Mitt if not fighter. You can see that the max health says if fighter for this one. And then we also have stamina and Mitt versus elemental, which is exactly the same. And then the other group buff that actually is different gives agi and wisdom. So you're buffing your scout primary stat and your healer primary stat. Also some base avoidance and some elemental resists as well, which is really nice. Wardens also get instinct, which increases weapon skills, and it has a damage proc that is essentially a piercing direct damage as well as a piercing dot. So nice for scouts, nice for tanks. Other spells that you get regenerating spores, which is great for tanks. It's 12% chance to cast spores on target, so it's essentially a heal over time that triggers whenever you get hit. If you're over 50% health, it triggers a smaller heal. If you're under, it triggers a bigger heal, and it's got a heal over time aspect as well to it. And then you have Aspect of the Forest, which is similar to the stamina and intelligence buff that Fury gets, except for its stamina and wisdom, which is nice for healers. Increases your primary stat as a healer, also gives you some elemental resist as well. So that's it for the buffs for the Wardens. Some of the namesake skills. So one thing that Wardens have that is very interesting is that each one of their flat heals, so we talked about flat heals in the Priest Basic video, their flat heals also have some, like an added heal over time, which is nice. Let's see how long it lasts for. Let's pull them up real quick. Yeah, so the duration is 6 seconds. So it's going to heal, give you that base heal, and then for the next 5 seconds, or every second, it'll give you, for the duration, it'll also do a heal over time. So that's their flat small heal, their flat bigger heal, and their flat group heal all have heal over time components as well. And then you have your normal heal over times that Druids both get, so you get a group and a single target. And so that's super interesting. Some other namesake skills, you have Sandstorm, which so I'm not sure exactly which stats carry over to the TLE servers. I'm pretty sure the weapon damage does not, but it does give, I believe all the rest do. So parry, deflection, block. I don't think weapon damage overcap or weapon damage does. It says when damaged the melee weapon, it's got a 20% chance to decrease your threat if you are not a fighter. And so pretty nice. Some extra avoidance for your group. Hierophantic Genesis is another namesake skill that you have. So for this, it's a toggle ability, so you can put it on yourself, you can put it on someone else. It's just a heal over time that you can toggle on and off. It lasts for 36 seconds, and it heals you and heals over time, but it also gives you power over time. But it drains the Warden's power. So if you put it on yourself, it's going to counteract, and so it's not going to look like I'm draining a ton of mana. But if I put this on someone else, my mana will be drained, and it'll give that group mate some mana as well. So pretty nice. Druids also get a elemental ward. You'll see this among some of the priests. I think each priest or each priest archetype, so cleric, mystic, and cleric, shaman, and druid, one of the healers from each one of those will get a specific type ward. So this wards against only elemental damage and increases your Mitt versus elemental damage. So this is pretty nice. There are certain fights and things like that have elemental specific AoEs, and being able to use this for your group will help them survive. And then finally you get Verdurous Journey, which is and evac. So that is all of the namesake skills that I wanted to mention. Generally, Wardens also get, just like Furies, they get 4 DPS spells. Now, I didn't mention it, but also all priests do get Wrath, and they also get Strike of Consistency or whatever, or Smite of Consistency. So you will also be using those when you're doing damage, but you get 4 of your own DPS spells. You get tons of heal over times as a Warden. Every heal heals over time, even your flat heals, which is really nice. Wardens, you get some good scout buffers, some good tank buffers, and then you get that good utility with the evac. I'll show the evac in a second. Genesis is really nice for the extra power regen early on. In the future, I will say your DPS spells do become melee abilities, and you become a more melee-centric damage dealer, but that's not for a few expansions, so you'll be casting like all the other priests. So let's go ahead and show the evac real quick, just to kind of give you an idea. So say you're fighting and you end up pulling too many. I'm gonna grab this. Oh, I've got these heroics on me. I'm about to start taking some heavy damage, and it's like, oh crap, we need to get out of here. Well, you cast your evac, and it will bring me to the evac point of the zone, and it actually removes me from combat, which is nice. So if you get in trouble in the middle of a dungeon or something and you don't want everyone to wipe, you can evac the group. Alright, well that's it for Warden. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please check out the other priests. Definitely check out Priest Basics. If you're interested in any other priests, check out those priest videos. And if you're interested in tanks, check out the tank video. I will also be releasing some videos for the support classes as well as the different DPS classes in the future, so keep an eye out for those as well. If you have any commentary, please comment on this video, and if you want to see new videos when they're uploaded, please subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates. All right, thanks, and until next time.